Hey, I am here with Gwen Heyler, who is a Rev Up Rockstar, Rev Up brand ambassador who's lost over 50 pounds, 55, right?
55 about.
Oh my goodness. You started back with us in March. And talk a little bit about when you first started. Because there's a lot of people who first start and they're like, this is hard.
The very first time I got started, I was like, I don't know if I can do this, but there was a group of people doing it, and I was like, okay, I'll try it. And I was like, well, I can do the water, I can do the Ningxia, I can do the movement, the food. I was like, I don't know, because I'm going to tell you, I'm maybe a tiny bit of a picky eater, very meat and potatoes type person. But I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. Last second, ran to the grocery store to get some things, and I did it. I did not do the first one perfect. I was out of the window, and I did measure my foods, and I got most of the things on the list. I don't think I had much extra, but it wasn't perfect. Definitely wasn't perfect. But I still lost like 3 pounds the first round. So
Did you
and
exercise?
I walked.
Okay.
The first probably 3 months that I did it, I walked for the 10 days, and that was about it. You know, one day I walk up in our town, which was a flatter route, and one day I would walk up the route that takes us up the hills. And that was about all I did was walk, and it was slow. It was not fast walk.
So what made you decide to keep coming back?
I love how it focused, but I was getting results. It wasn't anything crazy. I could go shopping at the store. I was eating mostly, like normal things that we ate. Maybe I had to tweak it a little bit. You left the cheese off or you left out the sour cream, but I was still eating a lot of the same things, just figuring out healthier ways to have them and to get all my containers in. And I just love the way it focuses me because I feel good. I feel good when I do it. And that's why here I am a year later and I'm still doing it because I'm still getting results and I feel so much better when I'm following the plan.
That's so awesome.
And it's, yeah.
When did you, what month did you realize, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how bad I felt before?
I was trying to think. I'm going to say maybe only a couple months, maybe a little bit after the first one. It really was when I would start eating some off-plan foods that then I was like, oh, I don't feel good when I eat this. And it really makes it easier to stick to the plan. Like, yes, I still have treats. Yes, I still have some stuff, but I just don't feel good when I eat that. And so I'm like, I don't want to eat that. We've been on vacations and traveling, and I'm like, I want to make sure I have some foods and take foods and figure out how to do that because I feel better. I don't want to feel garbagey, for lack of a better word, because I ate out all the time or I ate fast food when we were driving. I'm going to take stuff with me so I don't have to do that.
So you said that for the first 3 months you mostly walk. What inspired you to go to the next step?
I think part of that was just being in the group and seeing what everybody else was doing, and I knew I needed to make a change. And I tried some YouTube videos to find some things, and then it was really in August. So I started in March, and it was in August. I said, I'm really going to focus on my exercise. And that was because it was at a time when I knew I was going to make some not so great food choices, and I allowed myself to do that.
Yeah.
But I said, I'm really going to hone in and I'm going to start focusing on my exercise. And so I started being much more consistent with that. I started a program called Couch to 5K because I was like, I want to be able to run on the boardwalk when we go on vacation. And so that's when I really started that that's when I really dialed in and kept doing it. And I kept the exercise up the whole time, not just in Rev Up. And the food was still there. It was getting easier. And so then I started tweaking that little piece.
I loved how inspiring you inspired me in the Couch to 5K because I remember you saying okay, I jogged 2 minutes and then I walked. It was a program that slowly got you going. And then today you said, I warm up 5 minutes and then I can jog for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
I mean,
I regularly run now for 30 minutes. Unfortunately, it's not outside. I'm a fair weather runner, so I live in north central Pennsylvania where it's been cold and snowy and gross. So if it's gross, I don't run outside. But I can get on the treadmill and run on the treadmill for 30 minutes, and I'm not dying. When I first started, it was a minute, and I was like, how am I ever going to make it a minute? And I've had a couple days that I've run outside. I've run the whole 5K, so I've ran 40 minutes.
Wow.
And I'm okay. I can make it. It's slow, but I can do it. So
that's awesome. And did you say, are you doing some other types of workout, or did you?
I do. I found through YouTube is a really great resource for videos. I tried out a few and I found a company and they're called Team Body Project.
Mm-hmm.
And they do have a lot of cardio, but they also have some resistance and it clicked. It was a trainer that clicked with me and I liked their style. And it wasn't so advanced that I couldn't do it when I was first starting. Like it's designed, I think they even have some that are chair workouts, if that's something that you need, that it really is designed low impact, all fitness levels. And I just have really enjoyed that. And so I do those, I kind of alternate days between those videos.
Say that again for people who may,
it's called Team Body Project.
Okay.
They are on YouTube. They have some free ones. They also have their own website. I think it's teambodyproject.com. And it has free stuff there. It does have a paid subscription that you could pay for it and get access to a lot more programs and a lot more things. But I did it for probably 6 or 8 months. Well, from August until January, I just did the ones on YouTube that were free.
Wow.
I had to do some of them over. I did them, but that's what I did. And then I decided I would subscribe to it. I did one and I really liked it. And I was like, I think I want to do the whole plan of this. And
that's cool.
And I've been doing it for that many months, so I decided if I've already done the free ones, I'm probably going to keep doing it so I can pay for it.
So the other day we were in Florida in the Panhandle together at a hotel, and you went outside and did your workout, didn't you?
Yeah, I took my phone out, I had it propped up on the chair. I was like, I want to be outside where it's nice, and did that out in the yard at the hotel.
I love the journey you've done from. Were you exercising prior to Rev Up?
I had in the past, but I had gone probably a year that I had exercised maybe a handful of times. So I had really gotten.
So a year later, like almost every single day, right?
Yeah.
You take a rest day?
I do usually take a rest day. I've been in a super busy season the last few months, so I've taken a couple rest days. My goal had been for the last 2 months to do 5 days a week.
Awesome.
I just knew that's what I would be okay, and I had the capacity to do that.
Yeah. What's been very interesting about your journey is us Rev Up coaches, we were coached by a coach was very much about perfection. And so we were very strict for 6 months. And one of the things that led to for me and for another coach is we ended up with our metabolisms not being the best, right? I forget what the word is, but it's important that we've realized through you and some other people have lost a lot because you will do strict the 10 days and then you might loosen up a little bit. You might have more treats and things like that than we were allowed. And I think your metabolisms are just really working well for you, right? Because if you do the Rev Up program strict and very, very strict for a very long time, and do the exercise, like you can be under calories, right? So it's been neat to watch your guys' journey of being mostly Rev Up, but adding the exercise, doing that. And so what would off plan look like for you? Or what does non-Rev Up days look like, the 10 days look like for you?
So I still try to stick with the Rev Up plan. I definitely almost every day do breakfast the same. Okay. And I start with protein. I start most days and I do eggs just because that's what I like.
Yeah.
I do protein and I work on getting my protein in every day.
Awesome.
And some days it might be a little over, a little under because I don't always measure.
Okay.
When I'm not in the 10 days. But it's been a year. Yeah. So I have a much better idea of a serving size and how much it would be. So I don't always measure, but a lot of days I do a salad for lunch just because it's easy. So I have veggies. I have, usually chicken or tuna. And so I get that in. I really focus on getting my protein and my veggies. I definitely, if I'm not as strict, I have off-plan carbs. That's usually where it ends up being is some off-plan carbs. And maybe I don't always get my fruit in a little bit. But
do you do dairy?
I do a little bit of dairy. I don't do a lot of dairy. I used to eat cheese all the time. Every day, that was my snack was cheese and things like that. I still have it, but I don't have it a lot.
Okay.
If I have tacos and it's not in my 10 days, I'll probably put cheese or sour cream on it. And I like pizza. I didn't give up pizza. So, I still have that, but I don't put cheese on everything.
Are you a once a week pizza eater? Are you every other week? Or
it just depends. Okay. It depends, what we're doing. And, when we travel, I try to take some foods and do 1 or 2 meals in and eat out one day. And I'll eat what I want. But, if we go for burgers, a lot of times I'll skip the bun. or when we have things like that, I don't do a lot of bread. Occasionally I do because that's what I want,
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, I'm going to eat it. And
That's really
that's how I've stuck with it so long.
It's
It's
really
because
good.
I had those things, and I do have some sweets still. I like cookies, and I like fancy coffee drinks that are like dessert.
Yeah.
And so, but I just try to be conscious of what I'm doing, and also give myself grace to know, like, it was one day, you did it, you ate it, eat it, enjoy it, and move on.
Right.
And the next day, you move on. You don't dwell on how bad it was or how bad you ate or anything like that. You just do it, you eat, and you move on.
Right. And I think that's such a good thing too, because we could, and I've seen this with others who I've been in groups with, is they get so focused on, oh my gosh, I couldn't get the lid on, or they get so like stringent that all this cortisol, all the stress hormone gets up, and it's like, that's not what this is supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be perfect, and to give your grace. I'm just so impressed with you. You did say to me too, though, like when you eat pizza, the scale's going to be up.
Yeah. And
you don't stress about that, right?
And I'm somebody that steps on the scale every day. I know there's a lot of different things, but what it's done for me, I don't record it every day,
Right.
but I have learned, okay, I didn't sleep very well today. I know my weight's going to be up. Or I got behind on my water. I got my gallon of water in, but I drank a lot of my gallon of water later in the day, so my weight's going to be up tomorrow.
Right.
And it just has really helped me to learn and know and to see, and some of that I'm still seeing. Like, oh, we had that. Yeah, I had some extra carbs. It's going to be higher tomorrow.
Right.
So
you can see the inflammation come on, and then can you see it come off?
Yeah, and sometimes it takes a little bit longer. It depends. I haven't paid enough attention to that piece of it. But yeah, so it's been a way to learn too, to know like what's going to affect it and to be okay with that. You have to be okay with the number might go up today, but as long as the overall trend is down, it's not going to be down every day.
That's so good. That's so good. And you said earlier when we were walking, I said, well, what's your goal? Where do you want to go? Right? You're at 55 pounds, and you said
my goal is 100 pounds. I set that goal years ago, probably 5 years ago, and I have never reached it. I've never even gotten close to reaching it. And it was not a fast. It was like, I want to lose 100 pounds, but like, I'm okay if it takes me 2 years because I want to keep it off.
Right.
I want to have those habits to keep it off. But I also said, I don't know if that's a good number. Like, I don't know if that's the right number for me. That was just a number I picked because it seemed like it was good.
So you're 5'7". You said you started at 240 something.
So yeah, I think it was about 248.
Okay.
When I started Rev Up. So
how cool was it to get under the 100 pounds?
That was,
they get into the hundreds. Right?
That was a big milestone, and it took me a while because I sat like right at it because I was not real strict. It was holiday time, and and I had a couple months I really struggled.
Have you had any mental blocks? Because I see a lot of people get stuck in that piece. Has there been any mental blocks that you've broken through?
I will say I'm sure that there are some that I didn't even know I had, but through the coaching and the accountability and all of that I have worked through that, even though I didn't know it was. I do think at some point, even the fact of like, if I lose weight, I'm going to have to get new clothes. And that piece of it has been like, and maybe not, like I haven't really dived deep into that, but I think in the past that might be something. And I also know that if I get too restrictive with food and I can't have this and you can't have that, it just feels restrictive. And then I'll do it for a little bit and then I go way off the deep end and I eat all of those things that I wasn't eating and all those foods that I wasn't. And now, okay, I have 10 days that are super focused. And then I have the rest of the days that are mostly focused. And that has allowed me to do that. And just the fact of like, okay, you made a mistake. That's okay. You just keep going.
So what's been interesting about your journey too versus all us coaches, I mean, all us coaches, we had a shake every single day, protein. You've done all of this without having a protein shake.
Yeah, I've had like 2 protein shakes. I can't figure.
But I did make you one you kind of liked.
And that was not bad. Yeah, I couldn't figure out how to make them so that I liked them. So I ate a lot of chicken. Like I just would eat 4 servings of protein, and that worked for me.
How old are you?
I am 42.
42. Okay. That's good to know, like to see your journey and stuff like that too. My other question, what other supplements did you use from Young Living through this?
Oh my gosh, I use a lot of Young.
Did you always do 10 ounces? That's another question.
For the 10 days, I always did 10 ounces. Yeah.
Okay.
I did stick with that.
Do you feel a difference with that?
I think it makes it easier for me to stay on plan and to not have as many cravings. I have had a couple that I've had a really hard time with, but I also think it was because it was winter. In the season of winter and everything that I struggled with a couple of them. But during the 10 days, yeah, I always did the 10 ounces of Ningxia.
Okay.
I will say I'm not super great with enzymes because I forget them.
Okay.
But I do detox time at night before I go to bed. I always do that.
Oh, okay.
I started about the time of Rev Up. I started taking mineral essence every day.
Okay.
So I'm very consistent with mineral essence.
How much do you take?
I actually take the 10 droppers.
Okay.
Not all. I put them in water.
Okay.
I did not start at 10. I had to work my way up to 10.
Okay.
I sometimes do amino wise, the inner beauty collagen, sometimes sulfurzyme, occasionally Ningxia greens.
Okay.
When I know I'm not going to fit in my veggies, I'll do greens.
Okay.
I have started with the ICP daily, and I do Comfortone a lot because I did struggle with some of my digestion and some constipation, so I do that frequently. And then there's some others that I use some of the time.
Yeah.
Like I was taking Illuminize because my eyes need all the help they can get. So like I do that frequently and Inner Defense some of the time, especially like going to school and traveling.
Yeah. Any oils that you added to this journey or anything that you found for diffusing or sleep or?
Not a lot besides what I was doing. I will say I use a lot of peppermint. Especially like I was eating a bunch of tuna for lunch and then you have that. And so I would just use peppermint as like a breath mint. That was one I maybe used a little bit more than I had before.
Okay. Any other non-scale victories? Like, do you know your inches by any chance? Do you
I know that my inches, the last time I totaled them up was over 27 and I know I lost more in this round. So I don't think it's at 30, but it's getting closer to 30 inches. Wow. My clothes are fitting better. Clothes that didn't fit now. Clothes that did fit, don't fit. It's interesting though, because I'm still wearing the same pants that I was wearing before I lost 50 pounds.
Okay.
So I said it's interesting to me that I still wear the same ones. They're a little bit big, but the next size is very tight.
Yeah.
So
that's actually very common in the bigger sizes, no offense. That you can actually go 30, 40 pounds.
Yeah. So, but I know I'm stronger. Like I know it's easier to do things, even just loading my suitcase in the car and unloading the car and things like that. It's been easier. So yeah, I mean, and just making better choices.
It's so good. It's so good. We were joking because we had a big event and all these women, you were 50 pounds, 25 pounds, 20, like all these women had lost this weight. We had to set up like 100 chairs, all these tables. There was no men there to help us, I mean, we did it.
Yeah.
And you were saying even after you lost 25 pounds that you could dance, like the whole.
Just movement, like just everyday movement was easier.
So what last encouragement would you have for a brand new person or a person who's done it a couple of months?
I would just say stick with it. Remember, progress over perfection. Don't try to be perfect. If you don't get it right, that's okay. Just keep going, keep moving on. It's going to make a difference, even if you're like, is it really? Which I'm going to say maybe you're not at that point because I felt it and saw it right away, but keep going. It's going to get easier. The foods are going to get easier. You're going to figure out what you like. At first it was a struggle for me to figure out and try to do what I needed to do, but it's going to come. It'll come to you. You'll get it. You'll have it figured out. You'll be able to go on vacation and know what you need to go to the store to get to be able to eat mostly on plan and to do that and figure it out and not have, it won't always be as difficult because I know for me it was messy and it was hard when I first started, but you figure out what works for you. That's awesome. The other thing is figure out what works for you.
Awesome. So. Well, let's do a cheers. We don't have Ninja, but we can do our containers. Cheers. Good luck, everyone. Thank you so much, Gwen.